Hey guys, so the day has finally come. It is June 19th, Wednesday here in Japan, and today is the day that I have my appointment to go stay in the hospital to start my induction. Hey guys, so I ended up not staying at the hospital yesterday. It is July 20th, Thursday today. And what ended up happening yesterday was I went in and they did the usual checkup, and they realized that I was 3 centimeters dilated and 50% effaced. So there was no need to keep me there and give me the medication that would soften up my cervix because it was kind of doing it on its own. They also did the non-stress test again on me for 30 minutes just to see how my baby's moving and how much I'm contracting. So he's still here. He is still very much comfortable in the tummy. But today is the day. It is about 7:30 a.m. I go in at 8:30 a.m. and they said that, you know, for people who go into labor quickly after the medication can have their baby by noon, or I might not even have the baby by today. Hopefully I get to show you guys what it's like in there, and a little bit through the process. I know that it's going to be a bit strict with having video taping and cameras in there, but we'll see, and stay tuned. So hey guys, I literally got here like an hour and a half ago, and they've already put my IV in for induction. Already put my epidural catheter in, and they just, which was, I'll tell you guys about it later. I'm not really supposed to be recording right now. And then it's like 9:50 right now, almost 10 a.m. and they just started putting in my medication for the inducing drug. So we'll see. So it hurt, but we did it.
So
we did it.
Come on.
Look at our baby. Look at little
Beautiful
Prince.
baby boy.
7.5 pounds. So gave birth around 5:20. It was a crazy experience that I will definitely update you guys on later. I'm pretty tired and my legs are still pretty numb from the epidural. And then so it's about 3 hours later, it's like 8 o'clock or something like that. I have my own little room here, which is nice. And they brought my dinner over and it looks amazing. Check it out. Hey guys, so as you can see, gave birth to a healthy baby boy. He was born on June 20th at 5:21 p.m. And he was 7 pounds, 9 ounces, and 20 inches long. And we're very, very happy. So what I want to just come on here and tell you guys about is the induction. So how labor was getting induced out here and what the delivery was like. So I have my little timeline written out in my notes right here. I did my best while I was being induced and going into labor to kind of calculate and write down, what's happening at what time. I did my best. It might not be the most super 100% accurate, but I just have a good roundabout. So on the 20th, on Thursday, I went in at 8:30 a.m. and they literally just took me up to the room. It was like the second floor, a big kind of floor where all the babies were, and all the birthing the labor and the birthing that happens on that floor. So she took me into room, got changed. She put me onto the bed right away, like you saw. And they actually put in my catheter for my epidural and the IV for the induction drugs. They just put it in, but they didn't start the drugs right away. After a little bit, around 10 a.m. is when they started to put the inducing drugs in. They didn't tell me exactly what the name of the drug was, but from my research, it seems like most doctors use Pitocin or Pitocin. I'm not sure how to, I think it's Pitocin. Pitocin. So they started putting that into my IV at 10 a.m. 2.5 hours later, and mind you, you do this alone. No one is allowed in that room with you. No parents, no grandparents, no family members, no friends, and no husband, no partner. And that ended up being kind of a lonely feeling, especially feeling extremely nervous. This was the first time I was giving birth at all, going through labor, all of that. So not knowing what to expect, going through a lot of pain alone, and like the unknown was really scary. And especially when yes, I speak Japanese, like I said, but at the same time, I'm not that comfortable, especially with the language that they use at the hospital. So that was at 10 a.m. and then at 12:30 p.m. I started to feel some cramping and pains, and it felt more like menstrual, like really, really bad menstrual cramps. So I was starting to feel it a lot more in my lower back. And at 2 p.m. I remember I wanted to use the bathroom. Like, I wanted to use the bathroom, but I was kind of scared because I wasn't sure if they were going to let me use the restroom or they were going to put like a catheter in. I really didn't want to do that. But when I asked, they let me go into the bathroom. And when I came back, a different nurse had checked up on me, and she came in, she was like, all right, you're still 3 centimeters dilated, so we're gonna break your water for you. I'm starting to feel more pain, and what they're doing on the IV side is this whole entire time, every, let's say 15 to 20 minutes, they're coming in and boosting up the levels. So they come in and like push this button, and I saw it go from 10 to 20, from 20 to 30, 30 to 40, to 40 to 50. And they're doing this like pretty quickly, I guess, because I wasn't, telling them that I was in a ton of pain. Instead of laying on my back made it feel a lot more painful. So when I would lay on my side, it felt a lot better. And then around 3 p.m. I went to use the bathroom again, but I had to time it because it was starting to feel so painful, like extremely painful, and I could barely walk. And when I came back from the restroom, the contractions just became uncontrollably painful. It was really uncomfortable. The contractions felt like death, and they really, really did. I've heard a lot of other stories. I've never been through like normal labor where my body went into labor on its own, so there's nothing where you can like compare, but people do say that when you're induced, it's a lot more painful. Like, it was so terrible, and I was screaming and I was yelling and I was doing my best to like he kept telling me like, be quiet, like you can't, like you can't scream, you can't say anything, like be quiet. And then when something hurts, like you just like your eyebrows go like this. And they kept telling me not to do that. They put my own hand right here so that I didn't do that. They told me not to close my eyes. They were telling me to do things and not to do a lot of things. I had like the bands on my stomach, like the non-stress test bands that checked his heart rate and my contractions. So my main midwife came in and she was checking that monitor, and she knew when my contractions were coming. She was really awesome. She helped me out a lot, and she made me feel the best. And she was tracking that, and then she turned to me and she said, and this was around, let's say, I want to say about 4 p.m. She came to me and said, I don't think your husband's gonna make it. But the moment she told me that she doesn't think my husband was gonna make it to the hospital in time for the birth, made me realize how close I was. Like, I could give, like, I'm ready to give birth right now. Right after one of the really bad contractions, she had me call him. He had to take a taxi that was like maybe 30 minutes. Right before they took me to the delivery room was when they started to give me the epidural. I couldn't believe that they had this epidural like catheter in me this whole entire time, and they hadn't started giving me the drugs until like the very end. So I went through all of that pain without any pain medication. And yeah, that's probably why it hurt so bad. But at the very end, they put it in. It started to kick in, let's say 4:20, 4:30-ish is when it kicked in all the way. That was about 15 minutes after we called my husband, called my mom as well. I'm in the delivery room, and we're literally just waiting for my husband to get there. As soon as he got there, they put him in like scrubs and started pushing. I would say I started pushing around 5 p.m. and it was really scary because they didn't really tell me what was gonna happen. One, it's really hard to push when you're numb from like the waist down. You're not really sure what's going on because you can't feel anything. And then I had a nurse like intensely pushing on my stomach. I'm not sure how I didn't break all of my ribs. Yeah, I had an episiotomy because that was required either way. I also suction vacuumed him out, so he has like this lump on his head that makes him look kind of like an alien. But yeah, started pushing at around 5 p.m. And he came out at 5:21 p.m. For the 2 hours after giving birth, they allow us to be in that delivery room with the baby, just me, my husband, and the baby, and we're able to just spend the time there. And then they took the baby after that, and they took me to my room. They brought dinner over for me, and that's when the hospitalization started. So all in all, I don't want this to be like the next induction horror story, because I know there's a lot out there, but I think it happened the way that it needed to happen. I'm probably not the type of person that would enjoy being in labor for days on end. That I can't say that it was a bad experience. It was extremely painful, and next time I probably would fight a lot harder to not have to go be induced some way, somehow. I'm not sure what more I could have done this time. I went on over an hour walks every single day up until the day of my delivery. I don't think there was much more else that I could do. So I don't exactly recommend getting induced, but if you have no choice, then you have no choice, like I did. Thankful for where we're at now with the baby. He's sound asleep right now, right here. So it's a crazy experience. The hospitalization afterwards here in Japan is amazing. So I will have another vlog up of the hospitalization afterwards, so stay tuned for that.